Hello? Yeah. So, welcome to today's edition of what's the podcast called?
Tony's podcast. Nah,
No, what did you say? You're like don't know what's going on? Or,
Yeah, I don't know what's going
yeah,
on.
this is the podcast called Don't Know What's Going On. So this is the first pilot episode of the podcast.
Yep.
So Tony, just tell me a little bit about your military life.
My non-existent.
Your non-existent military life. Where are you? What do you do? What do you aspire to be?
Well,
Talking the
yeah.
okay.
My military life.
Yeah. the almost non-existing military life.
So when I enlisted into the National Guard, I had a broad idea of kind of what it was, but I mainly knew what it was about, right? Yeah, I knew I wasn't gonna be doing much. So the only real military experience I've had is basic training, AIT, and airborne school. And after those 9 months, everything just kind of cut off, you know? Because National Guard, yeah, you see the TV commercials, you're out there doing all this crazy stuff. But how often do hurricanes happen,
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I do see that. Like it's like serve your community. You're pulling someone out of like a burning or usually like a weather related, like a storm or a hurricane or something.
Like how often does that happen,
So you just chill most of the time.
I wouldn't call it chilling, but yeah.
But I know that's a thing that I hear a lot about, like National Guards or not, or just like in like a not active duty member is like I just chill.
Like once a month
there's almost no action going on anywhere.
Yeah, once a month you report, do your little 2-day training. After that, shit, you're done. Like you're done for that month,
It's literally that. But I'm sure that makes you kind of. I mean, I know the active people talk messy or not messy, but I'm saying like it's kind of a unspoken like. He's not a soldier.
Like about National Guard reserve, same thing, You don't do anything. Active duty just kind of talks down on it, and I mean, rightfully so. Rightfully so. I'm not saying they're wrong, but
then why did you? Because I know you've been saying that you've been wanting to go active, but why in the first place? Why did you choose? Firstly, why did you choose National Guard, and then second, why didn't you go active?
Yeah, National Guard, because like you enlist and you kind of listen to your parents. School, education, all this. And yeah, you got a National Guard recruiter coming up to you talking about, hey, we'll pay for all your school. Yeah, you get to do the action, but mainly school.
That's primarily just because of school?
Mainly school.
But are you the type of guy that's trying to go gun-ho, infantry, go out blazing like the warrior kid?
Yeah, no, not necessarily. Like I just plan to use the military for its benefits as well, trying to get up there, but I'm not trying to be gun blazing and all that. I'm just trying to like enjoy the military life for what it is, and use the benefits that they offer, which means, you can do a lot of things in the military, and a lot of people when they think like that, they kind of hit a dead end, They don't really advance after the military because the military is all they got. So I kind of want. Yeah, kind of. But I also want to have something to look forward after I retire, So that's why I was thinking of education and all this stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of people go into it first and then think about what to do after. So I guess it's kind of good you're going in it with, like, what do I do after right now before the after comes?
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of things happen, Like, you can get injured for any reason, just training even. So a lot of people don't really think that far ahead. And that's why I joined National Guard.
But yeah, so what do you do? You did what, airborne?
Yeah, airborne.
Or what was your thing? Kind of give a quick rundown.
So yeah, I went to basic training just like everyone goes through, and MOS, I chose medic. So then, basic combat training is 9 weeks. The medic school is 18 weeks, and luckily, not most National Guardsmen get to go to airborne school.
Just a few chosen ones.
Yeah.
Chosen one gets to go to airborne.
Yeah.
Do you have to qualify for that, or is there a qualification process? Or
there's no qualification as long as you pass your PT test. As long as you pass your PT test, and you can get chosen for it while you're in basic training, and that's typically what happens. People get chosen for it, and the people who get chosen for it usually have the best PT scores. But
how did you have some of the best PT scores?
I just had it in my contract.
But
I was lucky enough to get it in my contract.
But how do you get it in your contract? Like he's just like you airborne.
You can ask for it, and they'll look for a contract that has airborne. But usually, airborne is attached to your job when you choose it. It's attached to your contract.
So all medics become airbornes?
Not all medics. So
then why did you get chosen?
It's chosen. All right, let's say 82nd Airborne in North Carolina needs an airborne guy, right?
One person.
They need a medic, right? They need a medic. So then, since it's an airborne unit, that medic has to go to airborne school. So let's say they need an engineer, but they only need like 2 engineers. Those 2 engineers will go to airborne school, and then they go to North Carolina.
And that's unlikely, right? But I'm saying that's how it works. So is that how you were, your unit, or?
Yeah, my unit needed a medic, and
it was at airborne.
It's rare for a National Guard unit to be airborne. It's the only one in Texas, I hear. So
you got lucky.
I got lucky. They needed a medic at the time.
So if that wasn't in your contract, would that have been replaced with something else?
Yeah, if I didn't have airborne in my contract, I wouldn't be going to that unit. I'd be going to a different unit.
You don't know what unit, right?
No.
So it could have been like something completely like kind of a lot way boring.
Yeah,
a lot more boring. Like it could have been like a cook. No.
Well, yeah.
Well, how did that work?
I mean, cooks can go airborne.
I know, but I'm saying if you hadn't gone, if airborne wasn't in the contract, you could have gone literally anywhere else. You could have done anything else, or no, or just
if airborne wasn't in my contract, I still would have been a medic.
But not something else. I
wouldn't. No, because I wanted to be a medic.
That's what I'm saying. You'd be a medic, but you probably.
I'd be somewhere else rather than the unit they sent me to.
Okay, and that doesn't mean airborne would have been replaced. You would have not had anything else. You would have just been a medic.
You just would have been a medic.
So where you went, you had to be airborne.
Yeah, because of the unit.
What are they called? Airborne? Are they like airborne specialists or
airborne? No, just airborne.
Just airborne? You have to be airborne.
Yeah.
Oh, and then now you're just waiting to.
Now
you're just waiting
dude,
to go to Iraq
I'm just fucking chilling. You know, they usually tell you what your assignments are once you get there. So they'll tell you, we have this schedule for this. They usually plan deployments probably about like a year and a half ahead. So I haven't heard anything. Honestly, when I've...
As a National Guard?
Yeah. The National Guard, your unit tells you what they have scheduled.
You get deployed?
Yeah.
And what's the difference between what? Deployed and what? There's 2 things. There's
deployed and stationed?
Yeah, no. You get stationed, that's just where you chill or live.
Yeah. So like people get stationed in Germany or Japan. Those aren't deployments, you know?
Deployments are when you actually go out there.
That's when you're like
in combat, right?
Not necessarily in combat, but you're doing stuff related to combat.
But but could you be deployed to Germany, or it has to be to like an active war zone?
Yeah.
Or not active, but like a.
Actually, to be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure how it works. But the general idea that I get from it is that a deployment is in like a combat zone, you know, like Iraq, Afghanistan. I hear people get deployed to Poland or to like Egypt. I'm not exactly sure if that's a deployment. Probably just a rotation is what they call it. But I mean, the vocabulary is kind of just everywhere with those. Whenever you go somewhere, the vocabulary is just everywhere with it.
And I was gonna ask you that. I asked you that before, but like as far as the terminology, there's some universal. Mostly everything is universal. Something is brand specific when it comes to like terms, or no?
Yeah.
Like if you were to go out, like let's say like during Black Hawk Down, there was Delta, Rangers, and Navy SEALs, and there's a few Navy SEAL elements in there. They all do they all communicate the same, or is there like different? Yeah,
like whenever people know that they're gonna get deployed to the same zone, whatever that zone operates on, is how they communicate. So like let's say because they all knew where they were going, right? But so they all kind of got the same orders and kind of got the same, gist of what's going on. So they communicate that prior to anything happening. Because it's not spontaneous. Like
I guess it's like you don't just get dropped in there. Like it's like this is months in advance of planning.
There's months of training prior.
Yeah. So at that point, it's like at this point everyone should know what the heck is going on. Like if there's a whatever code or anything's like at this point everyone knows.
Like within themselves, And
if you don't, it's like you've got to really be ignoring something to not know.
Yeah, and if there's new people showing up, then they kind of get a rundown of what's happening. Code words or whatever, and then they go.
And then your goal is to primarily fly jets, helicopters.
Helicopters.
Yeah. Which one specifically, if you know?
Apaches.
What are Apaches?
They're mainly used for combat.
Well, so did you watch do you know about Lone Survivor?
Yeah.
Did you watch the movie or read the book?
The movie, yeah.
You gotta read the book. But the movie, what helicopter was shot down with the RPG when they're gonna go
Those were
when they didn't have the Black Hawks to
Chinooks. Those were
Chinooks. That's where they just carry people.
Yeah, they just carry people, cargo, and all that. Yeah, Chinooks.
So that was Chinook. Oh, it was a Chinook. Yeah, that was it. Okay, that's not. And what did you, Apache? Is that in a?
Those are like so.
Because there's different. Obviously, there's different styles or like categories of choppers, right? Like there's like a cargo one. There's like a attack one.
Well, when you're a warrant officer, there's only when you go through warrant officer. This is from what I've read. I haven't gone through any of it, obviously. I haven't gone through any of it, but from the research that I've done and a little bit of reading that I've done, it's when you go through warrant officer school, whatever you excel best at is whatever they choose you for.
For a specific...
Because there's only 4 rotary winged helicopters you fly when you're a warrant officer. And whatever you excel at is whatever they assign you to. As in knowledge-wise and all that.
You'll be tested on each one?
You'll be tested like through simulations and all that.
Yeah. But on each type of...
And then they base it off your knowledge too. Like your discipline, all that. And that's what they assign you to. Because obviously, some are going to be more involved, like combat related. Yeah. Rather than...
Wait, is that one combat related?
Yeah.
And Apache, right? That's...
Yeah, they're the one.
Yeah. An offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, they're not just going to assign anyone to anything. So my goal is to be at that level, you know. And knowledge and leadership.
But is it the same thing where, like, you choose one, you go through all the simulations, and if you meet your requirement to which one you want to be in, they'll give you that one? Or it's still like, but we have plenty of those. We need a little bit more people over here.
From what I've known, from what I've read, I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, so they don't.
From what I've read,
I don't know. Yeah, because they don't go through that. They don't talk about that. They just talk about you get assigned one.
Do you talk to anyone that's been through that
program
or
no,
that has that MOS?
No,
is that MOS?
Yeah, I guess it's an MOS.
Like it is an MOS.
It's a job. So.
Oh. So are pilots just pilots, or are they like medic/pilot?
Well, whenever you have more than one job, or whenever you've had one job and then switch jobs, it's a primary MOS and secondary MOS. So if anything happens to you in the first job, you can always fall back on your second job.
But that's
it doesn't. I mean, you're qualified to do the things that a medic can do.
Is there? Do you always have 2 MOSs? And no,
you don't always have 2 MOSs. But if you were to switch, yeah, you have the 2.
And that's like because you just want to switch, or you get injured and then like you're forced to switch.
If you just want to switch, or just like, injured,
or do you get paid more for that? Like because you have 2 MOSs?
From what I know, no. My knowledge on this is
it's super limited.
Yeah, because I mean I can ask my National Guard sergeants, but a lot of and they're not gonna be watching this.
Censored.
I mean,
but yeah, it's a different between reserves and active. It's a completely different ballgame.
But typically, you'll see National Guardsmen who were active duty, and they just retired as National Guardsmen. So yeah, there'll be a few sergeants who know what they're talking about and who've been through the stuff.
Was yours? Did you? Because I know you had some medical, problems. Did you lie? You lied on yours, right?
To get in? Yeah.
I hear that all the time, but you did.
When you enlist, people lie all the time. You know, it's nothing new. Like people know. Even my sergeants were telling me that he had surgery on his knee, and he couldn't enlist if they knew that, but he enlisted anyways. You know.
He just says that. He just doesn't mention that.
And he's been in the Army for.
But I will say, yeah, like I said, like I told you off camera the other day, is like the guy I knew that. He had, you know, they asked you, have you ever thought about committing suicide, right?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I did. And he was never able to join.
Yeah.
So it's something like that, though. It makes, I guess if you, in the perspective that you see, like, if you lie about a knee surgery and then 12, 18 months down the road, you go out to deployment and then your knee
gets busted.
And then that stops you from either protecting your guy or, like, completing a certain mission. That's also just as bad, probably. But definitely, like the mental one, or like I don't think you'd want. That's kind of like a little more touchy subject, of like lying about. I've thought about committing suicide, because then that seems a little more.
But
more edgy.
If you feel like you're better, mentalities. Because everyone's gone through that point. I'm sure. You know, not that point. Not that point of wanting to commit suicide.
No, but yeah. Like it's because you said at some point during basic training, someone wanted to commit suicide. Right?
Yeah. Someone wanted to commit suicide, and they told the sergeant, and you go on suicide watch. So two people during the night just stay awake and watch him, make sure he doesn't kill himself. And it's pretty pathetic. Because I mean, come on. Dude, we're in basic training. It's like
if you're already
yeah, like why are you gonna try to stick it out if this is what you're going through?
Yeah, right they so they can't continue, right? Or they?
They continue.
Did they get honorably discharged at that point? Because they're not even in, right?
I mean, no one from what I've known has quit because of that.
Oh, you can continue.
I mean, you continue. They continued, but. I really don't know why.
But that goes on your record somewhere, right? Like, at this point, this guy said he wanted to commit suicide.
Yeah, so...
I mean, that has to have some negative
it has negative,
career,
but they don't... So, for me, there was... The first 2 weeks, they didn't let you quit. Like, just period. There was a few guys that came up to them. To my
I read it once, my bad, cutting you off, that the Air Force... No. There's, like, you know... America's great altogether, but there's like a hierarchy of which basic training is toughest, right?
Yeah.
Which one is toughest?
Well, I've only been through one.
I know,
but
from what you heard, yeah, of course.
The Marines.
It'd be like Marine, Army, Navy, Air Force, right?
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah.
Then I forgot where I read or heard of like the Air Force, like it's a really soft at the Air Force, like it's really chill.
Yeah.
Like where they give out cards, like if you want to take a break, you can
I don't know about that, but
I heard that somewhere and I was like, that can't be.
But they do get more leniency, a little bit. It's only 7 weeks too. It's the shortest of all of them.
So like so I know the Army has like the Rangers and Deltas, Navy has their SEALs, Army has the aviation part, the jets and the helicopters, correct?
Well, just helicopters.
Just helicopters. Who has the jets? Air Force.
Yeah, jets and Navy.
Air Force and Navy. So what's Air Force's big thing for? No.
Big things, so like
what's like I'm saying like Army,
so like bombers and stuff like that, like UAVs. So I mean, Army also has UAVs, but
I'm saying like Army, like you always think like Green Berets, Rangers, Delta.
Oh, so like what is Air Force like?
Yeah, what is their thing? Like what is their
thing?
Our elite class of
it's called CCTs. I don't know if you heard of them.
No, I haven't.
Combat Control Teams.
No. What is that?
CCTs are like the special forces for Air Force.
Really?
Yeah, they're special. They're infantrymen basically. But they're out there doing like artillery stuff.
Like just calling it in, or what do you mean?
They're calling it in, like doing all sorts of crazy. Like back then in the day, they used to blow up emergency runways. They used to set up runways with explosives, and they used to be.
I've actually never heard of them.
Yeah,
my
CCTs?
bad, Air Force guys.
Yeah,
no
CCTs.
No disrespect. We're all on one team.
It's actually a pretty hard school to go through.
Yeah, I've actually never heard. Yeah, I haven't. I didn't hear about them.
Yeah, like when I was at
I've never heard of them once in like any military book or anything.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of them.
Like when I was at airborne school, I met a few guys, a few Air Force. The only reason Air Force was there was because CCTs. They were trying to be CCTs, So, and they were barely on like their like 4th month of training out of like the 50 they got to do.
Oh, for real? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
But that's like the other one where like it's a qualification process. Like you don't just hop in from basic straight to CC whatever, right?
No, you go through different types of schools. So like Sears school, where like they teach you Sears is like a survival school. They teach you how to survive like with the bare basics. So CCT, Special Forces, all that, they go through Sears, and so yeah, that's what Air Force goes through. That so like different branches of the military have different types of schools. So like Air Force would have to go to the Army Sears school. Army Airborne.
Oh, yeah.
And then they go to Air Force CCT school and all that. So, yeah.
Damn. I've never heard of them, actually, yeah. Out of all them, I actually have not heard of them. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, CCTs, it's pretty interesting. Usually, they do a lot of stuff. They're always with, like, the Green Berets. And
so they're like...
Navy SEALs. They're like this.
They're always with another...
They're part of that community, yeah. Like the Special Forces community. Like, they're, like, the elite,
I've never heard about them. I did some research. All right.
Yeah.